Hi, I'm Jonathan Green, and this is my presentation on whether it is possible and desirable to improve an organisation's performance using HRM strategies. The strategy I've chosen to focus on is employee involvement. Throughout the presentation, I will explain the forms of employee involvement, the advantages and disadvantages of these, whether it's applicable, and the conditions they need to be implemented under. I will then draw upon conclusions if it's sustainable in improving an organisation's performance. So, employee involvement as a HRM strategy can be defined as regular participation of employees in deciding how their work is done, making suggestions for improvement, goal setting, and planning and monitoring their own performance along with the manager. Encouraging the employees to get involved will hopefully in turn motivate them, produce increased performance and see higher levels of commitment. This can be done in many different forms. The first form of direct employee involvement is downward communication. This is communication down the hierarchy from managers to employees, and the purpose is to inform and educate staff, and in turn they will hopefully be more accepting of managerial plans. This includes practices such as group briefings or team briefings, or other ways of passing down information from managers such as emails, newsletters or reports. This would be used to send messages about the company's performance or even to publicise new initiatives. Studies show that this is the most common type of employee involvement in Britain, and in 2004, 91% of businesses used team briefings, and this percentage has since kept rising. There is also an indication as that they work well in the workplace, as they don't take up much time, they're cheap, and it involves good direct communication between the management and their staff. And it also ensures that they're all working together towards a shared group goal or objective. The second form of employee involvement is upward problem solving. This is designed to get to know the employee's knowledge and opinions for the business in order to gain a competitive advantage. These can be done in the forms of suggestion schemes, attitude surveys, or total quality management programs. Employees may see this as a good opportunity to get their feelings and opinions across to the management, but on the other hand, they may see this as a way of the management trying to basically get the employees to do their job for them, and therefore it will backfire and they wouldn't make good suggestions unless there was a reward or recognition for the good idea. There can also be problems if the comments are not listened to or there is a failure to adequately act upon them, as they will conclude that management are not actually interested in the employee's welfare. Therefore, managers need to take steps to act upon employee suggestions, even if it's something small, for example, getting the kettle replaced in the kitchen if the other one's too old. Another set of employee involvement initiatives is task-based participation and teamwork. This is where employees are encouraged to extend the range of types of tasks they do in different forms. This could be horizontal job redesign, job enrichment, or vertical role integration. This gives the employees the opportunity to take on a wider range of tasks and gain different skills and duties. Teamwork and empowerment is nowadays seen as key to an organisation's success. An obstacle to this kind of employee involvement is fear of change. That is, employees that are set in their ways and don't like to change the way they do a job. A way to get around this is to slowly implement the change instead of diving straight in and making massive changes. The final form of involvement is financial involvement. This links the individual's rewards to the organisation's success. This can include profit sharing, bonuses, or profit-related pay, which encourages the employees to work harder for the business, as the success of the business financially will also mean financial success for that of the employee. But this can depend on the control that the employee has on the profits that come into the organisation. For example, a truck driver doesn't have a direct impact on sales or profits, whereas a salesperson can directly affect the sales and would therefore be more influenced by a profit-related pay. Also, if the company was repeatedly repeating bad profits, it would leave the employees feeling that the profit scheme is not worth even being into. And these kind of schemes are also expensive to run in terms of administration costs, so it may only be viable to implement for larger organisations. Employee involvement can have different advantages for businesses, such as it has effects on job satisfaction, employee productivity, employee commitment, and can make better use of time and resources. But it has also significantly reduced the chances of industrial disputes, as there is better communication between the management and the staff. And as these barriers are brought down, staff will feel that they can talk to management more about their problems rather than heading straight for the union. These forms of employee involvement I've just spoken about can have different effects according to Marchington, and he talks about 4 different dimensions. The degree of involvement, which is the extent to which the employees influence the final decision. The level of involvement, whether it's at job level, department level or organisation level. The forms of involvement, whether it's direct participation, indirect participation or financial participation. And finally, the range of the subject matter being considered in the involvement scheme. The first of Marchington's dimensions can be shown on this escalator, the degree of involvement. This displays the extent to which the workers can influence management decisions. As you can see, this can range from providing information to communication to consultation, co-determination and finally full control. As the way the organisations are set up, managers have ultimate control over decisions, but the need to delegate decisions to employees when possible shows good employee involvement practice. However, while employees would not have much control over the overall strategy of the company, it's nice to let employees have control over smaller matters, including stuff like the venue of the Christmas party and the colour of the office wallpaper. The second dimension of Marchington's is the level of involvement, which is very useful as it acknowledges the distinction between where in the business the decision is being made, as management do not usually happen in a unified way. Decisions taken at the most senior level are usually beyond that of not just the bottom level workforce, but also that of their managers. The third dimension, the forms of involvement, is the one that has the most impact on the employees, as it's most likely to take in the shape of one of the forms I spoke about earlier. Providing the right form of direct employee involvement gives the workers the opportunity to have an element of control in their daily working lives. Employee attitudes to employee involvement are that they generally like the idea of being involved at work and having more say within their organisation. As you know, it's more often than not has a direct impact over their jobs, and organisations that successfully implement employee involvement usually have high levels of employee commitment, which, according to many studies, can lead to improved levels of business performance. John Cotton wrote a book which looks into the methods that improve performance and work attitudes. This suggests that some practices have stronger effects than others. For example, profit sharing and self-directed work has a strong effect on employee attitudes, while job enrichment and quality of work in life has an intermediate effect, and quality circles and task-based participation only has weak effects. So, after looking at all the theories, the types of employee involvement, the advantages and disadvantages of each and what employees' attitudes towards them are, I can conclude there are no guarantees when it comes to employee involvement, as even the most effective forms will fail if they are not implemented correctly, or the type of involvement the business uses does not suit the audience, which is the business's staff. However, in general, it's possible for organisations of all sizes to implement employee involvement into the business, and if used correctly, it's highly desirable, as it can lead to increased individual and organisation performance. So, maybe businesses sometimes need to invest more time and money into their employment involvement initiatives in order to reap the benefits. Thank you for listening to my presentation.